So when a man and a woman love each other very much, but want a Squirtle involved...
That's good. And also, no, I haven't crashed at all, so let's strike while the iron is hot.
Welcome to The Breakup, a podcast about destroying the things you love by giving them away. I am your host, Jacob Waskow, and I am here with my co-host, Sam Young.
Yes, you are.
What was with that delay?
Sam. I don't know. You kind of cut out for a second. Of course, as soon as we start to record properly, it starts to fuck up again. Everything still looks okay on my end, though.
Great. I'm glad to know it's my fault. It's always my fault.
Well, it was my fault earlier.
What did I make you do?
What did you make me do, Matt? We're not even going to do any preamble. We're not going to talk. We're not going to...
No.
We're not going to kiss and make up? No? Okay.
Sam, we are in a time of crisis. Since the last time we recorded, the world's gone to pot. People don't want humor, they don't want fun or laughter or nothing. They want the business. Are we here to give them the business, you motherfucker? You're always the jokey one. You're always the one who's like, hey, look at me and my antics. I don't do the job. I don't do work. I play Nintendo all day.
Fine, you joyless fuck. All right. Jacob, you made me play Disco Elysium.
Sure.
A video game.
Okay.
It is about a very drunk detective who wakes up in a hotel not knowing who he is, and he has to solve a crime. And there's lots of communism and disco. You have a best friend, sort of.
His name's Kim.
His name is Kim. He is actually a good detective, unlike you. It's set in a fantasy world where the continents of the planet are separated by a horrifying eldritch mist that can steal away your identity if you go too deep into it. It was created by, I think they're Estonian. It's an Estonian company. And the Chapo Trap House guys also provided voices for it, which I found out later.
Yeah.
This is all pretty accurate.
Yep. You joyless fuck.
Jacob, why do you like this piece of shit?
There comes a time when a man has to question about what is art. And I've had deep philosophical discussions with enemy of the podcast, Jesse Cowell, about the meaning of art. And I would contend that art is about finding words to explain abstract ideas in ways that language simply fails you in. Which is hard because a lot of art involves the use of language. But sometimes there comes a point in a young artist's life where they create a piece of art that's, let's call it the "but look at this though, why it be like that." And why it be like that is often a piece of art where, let's say, it's like Black Box Fringe show, and you sit down and you watch it, and the person goes on stage, they spread their arms wide, and they go, "Why it be like this, though?" And they expect applause.
I've been to that show.
Yeah, me too. And why it be like this, though,
anytime soon?
Is not good in a lot of media forms, but it works okay in video games. And this video game makes it the best role-playing game to have ever been made, ever. Full stop. This is it. This is the best one. That's it. It's the best video game. Don't at me.
Okay. I won't at you. I don't have you. Can you even at Jacob Waskow? I don't think you can.
No, I don't have Twitter.
Are we done? Are we done the exegesis? All right, good. I really liked this, and I've been dying to talk about it for like a month. That's how much I liked this game.
You liked
All the
Harry
things.
Dubois. You liked Kim
I liked
Kitsurugi. You liked pinball.
I loved the fantasy world. I loved the kind of, the sort of satirical film noir kind of aspect. I liked the world building. I liked all the little, the characters.
Tequila Sunset.
I liked all the kind of the political stuff. I liked the system. It was just really, 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 really good.
Well, I hate that the lasting legacy of this game for me has been the term liberast, but damn it, I'm going to use that term till the day I die.
Before I go into why I like this, I was actually kind of intrigued. I knew you really liked this, but I was sort of expecting something a little different. And when I played it, it really surprised me because it's an RPG, but it's so modeled in many ways off of adventure games.
Oh, yeah.
Which I seem to recall you detest.
I hate adventure games that generally involve a weird sort of puzzle logic to progress.
Kind of like lateral thinking stuff, like, you take the stick of dynamite and you don't use it as dynamite, you actually use it as a lever kind of thing.
Well, lateral thinking implies that there's thinking involved. Like,
rather than just throwing stuff at it.
Using a stick of dynamite in a way other than a stick of dynamite, sure, but we're talking about you need to get the piece of bamboo to feed to the panda because the panda will move to the side and clear the path so you can get the shovel that you can use to, like, fix the doorknob. Like, that's how a lot of adventure games are.
Yeah, and Disco Elysium uses an RPG system, so it's more like, well, improve your skill, and then you can do this thing.
Or alternatively, it's basically just, it is that lateral thinking, but only in conversation trees.
Because sometimes you have to kind of figure out what you're doing, or what you should say.
Yeah, you're trying to think through what the correct, like, mode of address is. Like, when you're dealing with a bunch of militant unionist types, and I don't know, you're thinking about, trying to come off as like an authority figure. How you want to do it? Like, how do you want to impress these motherfuckers?
So to go back very briefly to what this game is actually about, it's so long story short, there's been this murder in the middle of a union strike on these docks, kind of in this sort of vaguely France XP kind of nation that had this communist revolution about 100 years ago or so, or something like that, and now are run by kind of the international community who have imposed capitalism on them again. So there's high tensions between the union, which is quite leftist, and basically everybody else.
To correct you, they haven't imposed capitalism. Capitalism means that some people aren't going to be okay. They've imposed moralism.
Oh, yes, that's right. Well, there is a lot of philosophy in this game to get through.
Well, for listeners at home, the main difference between moralism and capitalism is that in moralism, you don't need to have a threatening opinion ever. That's it.
Yeah, you don't have to believe anything.
You don't have to believe anything challenging. Don't be challenged ever. Just be a moralist.
So you're this detective who he got so drunk when he got there that he forgot who he was. Basically became the tabula rasa. And so he sort of, part of the game is kind of trying to decide who he is. Like
also a lot of drugs.
Also a lot of drugs.
Also he tried to kill himself.
Yes. Because his ex, he's never gotten over his ex-wife.
Who has, really?
But so a lot of the game is kind of giving him little political ideas, and you can make him a communist or a liberal or a moralist or a fascist or so on and so on and so on.
Or a inexplicable feminist.
Yes, kind of a token feminist. I kind of made him more of a communist because I felt like that's kind of what the game is aiming at. He's also obsessed with disco music.
Who wouldn't be?
Which is never quite... It doesn't seem like it's quite the same thing as disco in our universe, because you only hear one song that's really considered disco, and it's not very disco-y. a lot of good there was a lot of good music in this, a lot of good background.
Well, okay, let me ask you this. Did you sing karaoke?
I did sing karaoke.
How well'd you do?
I did really well.
Well, good. Because when you
God, there's so much. Sorry, go ahead.
Because when you do bad at karaoke, it's certainly a much better performance.
I spent a lot of time kind of trying to make amends for Harry's bad behavior. So I think that may have contributed to my success at karaoke. There's so much to this game. It's really hard to go over this because I wasn't aware. I was informed by Enemy of the Podcast, Jesse Cowell, that I played 30 hours of this and I thought it was more like 15.
Yeah.
So I got obsessed with this game.
To be fair, you said, I think I played 9 hours. Jesse went, no, you haven't. It's more like 30. And you went, oh, no, I must have played like 15. No,
I did not 30 hours. I did not correct him because he had the hard numbers on his side. But anyway, he was right. I played a lot of this. I actually cranked it open last night just to kind of remind myself of some things. And I punched Kuno in the face.
Wow. You didn't shoot Kuno S.
Oh, can you do that? Oh, yes. Yeah. That I was reading about that afterwards, that you can do that. And
you can just shoot a child.
Yes.
Like immediate game over, but you can just shoot a child.
I think this bears special mention. Kuno is this obnoxious sociopath 12-year-old who has been hucking rocks at a corpse in the backyard. And he is just like... It's indescribable, the writing that they've done for this character.
I think the sentence that clarifies the character perfectly is, if ugliness was a child, this would be it.
He has one of the sadder backstories. I didn't know, obviously I didn't know, but I found out later that, so there's a point in the game where you get into kind of a firefight with some...
we should probably have a spoiler warning at some
I'll put
point.
A spoiler on the description. There's a point where you get into a firefight with some strike breakers, and if you do badly, your partner, he doesn't get killed, but he can be wounded and taken out of the game for the last few days. And if you screw up, Kuno becomes your companion.
I mean, how spoilery do we want to get here?
Let's just be spoiler. We'll be spoiler. I think we have to be spoilery because we can't. It's hard to talk about the game without.
Because the longer you talk to Kuno, the more you realize Kuno's a kid who has had a shitty life that has then been, like, socially manipulated by an orphan his family has taken in. Yeah. Kuno is actually fine. Kuno S is a sociopath who's encouraged him to be a killer.
Yeah, slowly you realize that she's the one who's been manipulating him. He also seems to have renamed himself after her.
Yeah, well, I mean, Kuno don't give a fuck.
Kuno don't give a fuck. I can't even approximate it. The voice acting for that character is fabulous. In that I hated every single moment I had to interact with that character.
So, I mean, yeah, it's good.
It's really good. I feel like I have so much more to say. It's too bad that we didn't... this was my screw-up, really, as I didn't... actually, as of this recording, haven't edited the last episode, so it just kind of took forever, and so I regret that I didn't get to talk to you about this more like fresh off the plate.
Well, the other problem there is that the more you talk about it, the more it kind of ruins it for other people.
I think
a big part of this is
we haven't revealed like the big things. I think we've kind of So better to leave it as a mystery. But it is so good. It's really fun if you're into like kind of adventure RPGs of that type. It's a lot of fun. Or if you're into
politics at all, play this game.
Yeah, I think the politics are really interesting. I think maybe if you're not, there's some points where you kind of get into really long discussions about politics that can, like, I wouldn't call them boring, but they're not everyone's taste. But that's maybe the one drawback. Yeah, it's a really great game, and I wish I remember all the things I wanted to talk about it with you, but I really, really liked it. I would also say that it's a game you can play a few times. I loved all the little points where he's like his brain is talking to him. All his little like aspects of the soul are giving him advice.
I particularly love the conversation that is not a conversation. It's just a looping dialogue tree where you can say, Mr. Everett is helping me find my gun.
Yes.
And then you can say again, Mr. Everett is helping me find my gun. And then you can just lock into that for a good 10 minutes.
I had actually, when I first started playing, I got to the point where you meet, so you've lost your gun. And I got to the point where you meet the dock overseer, and he's
Everett.
taunting you with this information. Yeah, Everett. He's taunting you with this information, and I I game overed like 3 times because my mental fortitude was so low.
I mean, he puts you in a chair
Yeah, he basically
designed to fuck with you.
But yeah, a game you can definitely replay a lot. Hey, well, let's move on. I think I don't want to talking more about Disco Elysium kind of spoils the experience for
One
people.
last thing.
Yes.
Did you open the shipping crate?
No, I didn't.
Because that is, you need to go back and do that, because that is one of the best dress downs of ultra rich 1% people I've ever seen.
Cool. All right, I will do that. All right. So, Jacob, what did I make you do this? I should give it a rating. So I would give Disco Elysium 10 discos out of Elysium.
You told me to play A Link to the Past.
Yes, I did.
The problem is, I've seen like 3 different entire playthroughs of A Link to the Past.
Okay. This would have been pertinent information when I gave you the assignment.
Yeah, but I mean, when you gave me the assignment, I was like, you know what, I can do this. I can, playing it's a different experience. Like, I'm receptive to this, I want to try it. And I tried it. I didn't get very far.
Okay.
And then like, a different video game came out, and I was like, okay, I'll get back to this. And then, I caved down and bought a copy of Total War 3 Kingdoms, and I was like, all right, isn't there like a thing I need? It's not a big deal. I'll get back to this later. And then I played Jedi Fallen Order, and I was like, wow, man, they need to make a video game that's like smart about Star Wars again, because this is fun, but it's not actually smart with the material. Wasn't I supposed to be doing a Zelda thing? It doesn't matter, it's not a big deal. So in Zelda: Link to the Past, you're trying to save your sister, which is weird because you can't have sex with your sister, really, but like it's implied that you do in this game. It's really weird. And you need to save Zeldu. That's her name, right? Zeldu?
Yep.
You need to save Princess Peach, and it's rough going because once you get the 3 whatevers, you get the Master Sword, you need to go save the princess and get thrown in Dark World at some point. I don't remember. It's been a while.
Barely.
God. Princess Peach.
That was a good one. I like that one.
It's not mine. It's not my bit.
How badly did you fail this assignment?
Total. Complete. Total failure. Negative 100%.
You sent me a message saying you did it.
I lied. Because I thought this would be funny.
It is funny. But you are going to get punished, my friend.
But you're also going to get punished.
I know. And you only
okay. I know what your next assignment is, because I have so many assignments that are good and genuine that I need to give you before I give you something shitty and sardonic.
Yeah.
So how's about I just give you the most embarrassing one next?
Well, the next thing we're doing is not a Sam and Jacob thing. It is a guest thing.
I know, but what I'm telling you is that your next assignment will be of a certain. Okay, I know what your punishment's going to be.
Okay.
And I imagine you know what my punishment's going to be, and we'll just do it together.
Okay. Yep. We'll do double punishment next time. It'll be the first episode of whatever letter we get next time.
The silent letter.
The silent letter. Oh, she's gonna fuck with us on that one. She's gonna figure out.
I think she'll just give us XYZ or like an umlaut.
An umlaut, like the umlaut.
Your next letter is
It's a schwa.
It's the soft CH. So.
Oh well.
Why do you like this piece of shit?
Why do I like this piece of shit? Oh, so many reasons.
I've seen you play this piece of shit.
Princess Beach, digging up Triforce pieces in the ocean.
So, like, I've seen you spend literal hours on a digging up puzzle trying to get a heart piece.
Oh God, I did, didn't I? Yeah,
And
that's
I
true.
just would watch you and go, why does this matter?
Well, okay,
Breath of the
that
Wild is a
requires.
game that exists. Why go back?
I didn't have Breath of the Wild at that time.
Why go back?
To explain what so since Jacob has no useful context to provide here, I guess I can talk about why I like Link to the Past.
Yeah. Like, again, I've seen Link to the Past. We can talk about Link to the Past.
Yeah, we can. To a degree, it is a nostalgia thing because it was one of the first video games I ever played, and the reason I like Zelda, like it's so elemental. It really laid the template for the rest of the series, even more so than the original game. And it's total nostalgia goggles, but it also is it's like one of the few older SNES games I've returned to more than a few times in adulthood.
That isn't a Donkey Kong derivative.
That is not a Donkey Kong derivative. I do have a weak spot for the Donkey Kongs. It's just I think it's really magical in its way. Like there's nothing like it, or nothing like it is the wrong word for it, but there was nothing like it, and it invented a genre. Anyway, to explain the digging thing, I surprisingly up until last year I had never 100%ed it. So I wanted to try to get all the hearts and things without like looking stuff up. And there was a point where it's the worst mini game in the game where you have to try to dig up a little heart piece. Everybody, you know how Zelda works. You get hearts and things.
I don't know how Zelda works.
Oh, you don't do?
No, explain this to me.
Yeah, you're a little guy and there's hearts and there's a triangle and you get it.
And? Is that it?
And that's kind of it. I mean, that's it.
So, okay.
Anyway, let me finish this thought. There's the worst mini game in the game is you have to dig up a heart piece, and it's not random, but you have to dig a certain number of times in a row, and it's random when it appears, and it's just awful, and you have to spend a million years on it, and there's no way to cheat it at all. So, because I was running it on the original Nintendo that I still own.
So
anyway, that's why I did that, not because I had a real reason, not just Jacob's accusations.
I don't know if you did, because I think
I gotta get the 100%.
Why though?
I don't know.
Why
anything?
100% in a game about Zelda?
Why 100% in a game about Zelda? That is a very thought-provoking question.
Well, like
I don't have an answer to.
There's a story. Do you need the heart piece to complete the story?
I don't know. It was just something I'd never done before. I don't know. What do you want from me? I also
want
got
content.
I also got all the temples in Breath of the Wild, probably for the same reason, which I don't have an answer to for you.
Why do you completion things?
I don't always completion things.
Yes. So what? Why? What's the parameter? What makes you choose a thing? This is a podcast about taste.
I know. I'm trying to think of why. This is actually... Well, now that you've posed it in a more interesting way, now I actually have to answer you. Well, okay, from a practical point of view, Zelda, maybe aside from Breath of the Wild, because there's no way I'm getting all the Korok seeds, Zelda is somewhat attainable. Like, there's a finite number of things you can do in the game. The puzzle solving and the searching is not hugely difficult. It's got, there's a learning curve, but it's not like... It doesn't make you want to rip your hair out most of the time. And just like it was sort of, I guess, ego thing. I don't know. I wanted to finish it off because I'd never done it before. Because I'd done that for Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask.
And go with me here.
Sure.
A sense of adventure in a game like Zelda is a sense of mastery over an environment. It's exploration. Nice. It's finding sort of a world that you then not conquer. Conquer's the wrong word for it, but you become a part of it by learning every nook and cranny of this world. And by pursuing, let's call them mind-altering tasks of collecting individual Korok seeds or heart pieces or whatever the fuck, really. Collecting fairies. I don't know. Fairies. And as you learn every little trick, every little piece of gear you can use in like different ways, I mean, Isn't that special in its own right? Isn't that a game in of itself?
Yes, but you said that like it was sarcastic, which made me think you were about to set up some sort of dunk on me.
I'm not.
Okay.
The dunk is within us.
The dunk is in us all.
Why? Well, the dunk is, then why do I need a story? Why do I need some fucking thing about saving Zelda?
Now we're getting into like the epistemology of games.
Don't throw that at me. That's my major.
Well, why don't you tell me?
I don't know what the word epistemology is. That's my major.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, so do you feel that
So let me talk about very briefly. There's a question in philosophy. Oh God, I can't believe we're doing this. There's a question in philosophy, which is, what is the definition of a game? And there is no common definition of game.
No, there isn't.
There is not. So, I sometimes I want a game with a story. Sometimes I want a game where I'm just like moving Tetris pieces. It's entirely down to taste. And sometimes I want to move the Tetris pieces to get story.
But we're not talking about what you like. We're not talking about like what game do you want to play right now. We're talking about a game that offers two completely different and at times conflicting experiences.
Would you say solving puzzles is conflicting with telling a story?
I would say that solving puzzles that have absolutely nothing to do with your story and drive you completely ham because they're luck-based doesn't have much to do with the story, no.
Are they luck? I mean, yeah, there are some luck-based puzzles in Zelda, but...
Well, that's the ones I'm talking about, though. Those are the ones I'm... Like, the 100% puzzles.
I don't know. I think this comes down less to, like, any grand philosophy scheme of game making and more just, like, it's a bad puzzle. Sometimes there are bad puzzles in games.
And sometimes you don't want to play A Link to the Past because there are bad puzzles in it. Okay, next topic.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe that is it. Maybe I'm at a point in my life.
This has gone from you fucking up to somehow you taking the higher moral ground. And I don't know how you did it, but I really, really respect it.
Well, do you respect that it's working?
Yes, that's what I find infuriating is somehow I think I have been convinced that I'm in the wrong, even though you are clearly in the wrong.
Well, I guess I'm right then, aren't I, fucko?
even you don't believe it. Joyless fuck.
I mean, I don't have to believe the words I say. I just need to say them.
They're just words. They don't mean anything.
Like, if Disco Elysium, a good game for good people, has taught me anything, it's that if I just say the words, eventually someone's going to believe me. Whether that person's like a closeted lesbian trucker or a guy who was forced to play pinball for 7 months. Sometimes you just gotta say the words. And sometimes those words get you out of fucking a game that hasn't aged super well. It's a good game. It's just a bit too old for me.
That's fair. That's fair. But you didn't play it.
And I never will. On pain of death.
Wow. This is the pact we're making right now.
What's our common theme?
What's our common theme?
What's our letter?
Well. E. Is the letter E.
Electronic.
Supersonic. Do we have electronic? I'm looking at the list. We don't have electronic, so we're doing electronic. Are we sure we're doing electronic? You just want to throw that out there?
Well, I can't think of an E word.
We're communicating through...
Exploration.
Exploration. There we go. I like that.
Well, got it in E, baby.
Got it in E. We finished E. Well, we haven't quite finished E. So next time, we have approached our 11th episode of season E, which means we're coming to a close. So we will have a guest on, an old friend of the podcast, an old friend of mine, an old friend of Jacob Waskow's. Augusta will be joining us.
Okay, this is an aside. Have I become such a personality that we need to say my full name?
It is kind of part of your mystique.
I can call you Sam,
Yeah.
and that's fine. But I'm Jacob Waskow.
Sometimes you are. Sometimes you're just Jacob.
No, that feels weird when you say that. Like, try it one more time.
But no, that is a tendency. People do call you by your full name. Like, this is a thing.
Well,
I think it's just you've created a brand.
You and I both know they don't call me by my full name.
Well, no, that's true. We won't go into that dark chapter.
I don't need the internet knowing that.
No, we're not going to go into that. Although I feel like maybe we've talked about it before on this. Anyway, so we will be joined by our friend Augusta over the interwebs. And so Jacob and I will be watching an anime film called Trava Fist Planet. And
Is it a planet about fisting? What?
I hope so. In exchange, Augusta will be watching a Sam and Jacob favorite, the documentary Tickled. See episode.
See an episode.
What was it? See an episode. I wish
in this audio-based format, see it, watch it, taste it.
See the audio.
See.
God, what was it? It was early on. It was fairly early on, actually. Well, that being said, so next time we'll be doing Trava Fist Planet, and we'll be revisiting Tickled with our friend.
I want to tell you what your next assignment is now, anyway.
Okay, let's have a preview.
Yeah. So what do you?
It's been a while. The audience deserves a little extra.
What are you going to punish me with? Lay it on me.
I hadn't thought of anything because I didn't know you would have to punish you. Let me TBD on that.
Well, fuck, I'm not going to spoil it then. If you're going to TBD me, then I'm not going to tell you shit.
Well, let me think about it. I always have trouble with the punishments because none of the things I like are really like, other than the really like boring artsy stuff, which doesn't really make for good conversation.
I think I've trained myself to make good conversation out of that stuff.
Have I made okay? All right. Here's one, and maybe this is just like this is something I genuinely like, even though it is terrible. I just thought of it now. I even have the DVD, but I think you've seen it. I might make you watch Surf Nazis Must Die.
I have seen Surf Nazis Must Die.
You've seen it, yeah.
In fact, I got for you and Augusta the soundtrack to Surf Nazis Must Die.
That's right, you did.
That is how I got my nickname.
Well, I got nothing then. I'll have to think about it. If you don't want to spoil it, that is your
Sam,
all right.
You will be watching the internet, taking the internet by sensation, anime on Netflix, Beastars. That has made everyone a furry.
Oh, dear.
The punishment is you have to watch all of it with Megan.
Oh, no. Oh, this is interesting. I like this. I like this punishment.
And
that's definitely going to get me killed.
You don't realize just how awkward a punishment this is going to be. But it is.
I believe the kids call the word yiffing. How much yiffing is there?
0. No, wait, no, that's not true. Almost 0.
No, see,
Almost 0. You will be surprised by the absence of it.
How many episodes are there?
Like 12.
Okay. Well, I guess we're doing that.
On the plus side, if you like it, it's going to go like that. Okay, if you don't like it, well.
I like how you're surreptitiously possibly punishing Megan as well. What is her? No, she's not part of our blood pact. Is she able to opt out of this?
She is, but you then have to sit down and. Actually, I don't know.
Yeah, how do we escalate this?
Basically, I think she has to at least watch. No, okay. The punishment is that she has to at least watch the first episode with you. Then she can leave if she wants.
Sure, all right. That is the condition.
And I feel like that's not as much a punishment for her as much as it is a request. But if she decides not to watch the rest of it with you, well, woe betide you.
Woe betide. Oh, God. All right, well, I'll have to think about what I'm going to do next time. Shit. I didn't know I was going to come in with this information.
How the fuck do you not realize that you have to come in with 2 of these every episode?
Every episode. I've never done it that way before because usually we skip one if there's a punishment to be had. Ooh, oh, I know what I'm going to make you punish. I'm going to punish you with this because I don't think I've done this before. You, my friend, are going to watch an episode of Kindred the Embraced.
I have seen an episode of Kindred the Embraced.
I know, that's fine. No. You're gonna watch an episode of my choosing.
Okay. Because I've only seen the first episode of Kindred the Embraced.
Yeah, that's probably the worst one, but there is another very bad one which I will make you watch. So I'll look that up. You are going to watch a single episode of Kindred the Embraced because I don't really feel like making you go through the whole thing.
Well, I'm making you go through all of Beastars.
Maybe you need to watch all of Kindred the Embraced, which is actually less time than Beastars as far as I can tell. Then that will be our mutual punishments for the first episode of whatever next season is.
G.
Have it ready to go.
Grandma.
So we would like to thank Irritating Rainbow for the use of our theme song You Broke It from the album Where'd the Truck Go? You can find a link to that in the description. Jacob, give us here now a final thought.
The fact that I really like the term pederast... No, wait. Oh god, I feel like that's it. I feel like I did it on accident.
Wow.
I was trying to say liberast, and I just said pederast.
I know. And I'm going to leave that in. As soon as you said it, I knew you'd fucked up, and that's not what you meant to say.
Well,
that's probably the best one we've had in a while.